You can take all up. I wasn't sure that I would ever make this video. The overwhelming stress, time spent preparing, and the realization that one day can hold so much importance and weight in my life was enough to handle, let alone making a YouTube video. At points I did get some vlog clips, but my files got corrupted and most of them are all gone. Now that I'm done and the dust is settling and I weight my face January 22nd, I decided that sharing this will ease a lot of you guys that are watching that are gonna go through a similar experience now or in the future. So here we are. If you don't know me, my name is Jack Han. I am a 4th year dental student at University of California, San Francisco, and I'm trying to specialize in pediatrics. I decided to pursue a specialty in pediatrics for many reasons, but I can make a video later about why I decided to go into peds. As I began on this residency application journey, I decided to cast a wide net. I applied to 20 schools and ended up getting 6 interviews. There is certainly a mild undercurrent of consistent nerves as the interviews started rolling in, and of course also before they started rolling in. But after I hit my 4th and 5th interview, then I started to become more at ease because of this chart that was being thrown around in the community. Before I get into the specific interviews, I want to talk about how I prepared for them. Although I regularly conduct mock interviews for pre-dental students, it's been a while since I've been on the other side of it, and it's much different. I found my practice interview questions from a variety of sources, some coming from Google, forums, YouTube videos, professors, asking my friends that were in phase 1 match what their interview questions were like, and then I compiled the list of the important ones that I thought into, well, this list that you see here. As I delved into preparing for each individual school, I went beyond the basic research at looking at forums and looking at their websites and, you know, flipping through the web pages there. I actually reached out to a resident at every single spot that I interviewed at to ask them a certain set of questions. This way I could have a really good base knowledge of the program, be extra prepared, and then have notes later on that I can go back to like re-jog my memory of what the program is like. Honestly, some of these questions could have been refined, but after I did a couple interviews with students, I decided that I was going to keep it consistent. I got in contact with all these residents using a variety of sources. I asked current UCSF Peds residents, people that I was friends with, my mentors, connections that I had made from ASDA and Instagram. If I was unable to be introduced to a resident, I would try and find them online and then trying to find their Instagram, seeing which mutual connections we had, then contacting that mutual to set up a call. No matter what, I found a way to get connected. In terms of what I wore, I do have a blue suit that I use for dental school interviews, and it's still fit, but I have gained like a little bit of weight since 4 years ago. So I went to Suit Supply and I got fitted for a new one. The 2 most important things about a suit is going to be how comfortable it is and if it makes you feel confident. At the very least competent. Getting time off and booking flights was another thing that you have to pre-plan ahead. When I was on the interview trail and talking to people from different schools, some of them were limited for the amount of days that they could take for residency interviews, while other ones just weren't getting, you know, the days that they wanted approved. Luckily at UCSF, they were very accommodating when it came to interview travel. As soon as I got an interview, I would submit an absence tracker to my school, and I typically asked for around 3 days off. My rationale was simple. If I was going to be investing in these programs and also getting the flights, setting up the accommodations, it's totally worthwhile to spend that extra day or 2 there to get a feel for the city and what a potential life could look like there. At the very least, I learned a little bit about each program and city, and I created some lasting memories. On October 25th, we made it to our first interview. Well, the social of the interview. Typically, each interview invite includes a social component. Sometimes the program will tell you that it's voluntary, but other times they might be very ambiguous about whether or not the attendance is mandatory. Regardless, a pro tip is to try to make all of them, and luckily I was able to because I didn't have any scheduling conflicts between my different interviews. So after the social, we went back, and that night was really long. It was the most nerve-wracking part of the entire process. Luckily, I was able to get an Airbnb with 3 of my other classmates here from UCSF, and we were able to live together. I remember we sat in the kitchen and we were researching the different professors that would be interviewing with us, just for the chance of being able to integrate something that we learned that night, or something about their expertise, like if it's lasers or if it's, I don't know, removing mesiodens or whatever it is, into the interview conversation the next day. Despite knowing that I needed a good night's sleep, my sympathetic nervous system was firing and it wasn't able to calm down, and I only got 5 hours of sleep that first night. Each program provides some sort of introductions, presentations, and time where you can interact with and connect with the current residents. The interview itself was typically only like 30 minutes to 60 minutes. Compared to dental school interviews, the format was more varied. There was some schools that did MMI, some schools that did like the traditional one-on-one interview, and then other schools that did panel interviews of varying sizes, but it flies by. Personally, this was my favorite part of the day. It was so intense. Every sentence, every word, the way you say everything, the way you look, the way you present yourself, everything matters. It really made me feel alive, to be honest. The program interviews the candidates throughout the day. Typically, like half will interview in the morning, half will interview in the afternoon, and then the other half will go on a tour, and then vice versa. I was immensely fortunate where every single interview, my interview was in the morning, and it was pretty early in the morning, either like the first person or the first group. This was great because it spared me from carrying the weight of the interview throughout the day. Okay, I can't tell you the specific questions that I was asked at every school, but I can tell you generally the types of questions that they did ask me and ones that you should be prepared for. So prepare for questions such as, tell me about yourself, why peds, why this school, strength and weaknesses questions, teach me something, ethical dilemma questions, hypothetical, and then also personal examples, as well as clinical questions like drawing preps, interpreting x-rays, and bonus for pediatric interviews, I know some programs that will ask like, what is your favorite cartoon character, or what's your favorite Disney song, and some of them actually make you dance and sing. My second interview was Minnesota, and it's the perfect segue to share my biggest travel tip because I was able to stay at a really nice hotel and save a lot of money. I am not sponsored by this card at all, but this is just too good not to share. Check out the AMEX Platinum card before your interviews. Frankly, this card is not cheap. The initiation fee is $700, but you get immense value out of having this card. For travel specifically, there are more benefits than the ones that I wrote down, but these are just the benefits that I have already used with this card. I personally have made back already $1,700 in value, and this doesn't even include the access to a numerous variety of airport lounges where you can eat, rest up, prepare for your interviews before and after flights. If you want to start using this card, use my link below, and if you spend $8,000 within the first 6 months, you get $800 back. Fast forward to December 7th, this is my last selfie I took on the Uber back to the airport from the program Woodhull in Brooklyn. So it really is a marathon and not a sprint, because this process is really long, drawn out throughout many, many months. And honestly, I'm glad that it's coming to an end. But is it really over? After each interview, the job is still not done. It is customary and good practice to send thank you follow-up emails to all the different programs. If I had individual one-on-ones or an MMI format, I would send a personalized email to every single person that interviewed me from that program. If it was like a group or panel type of interview, then I just send a generalized email to all the people that interviewed me at the same time, because it was really difficult to personalize a group email. Do not overlook this step. Some program directors will see it as a breach of professionalism if you don't send the thank you follow-up email after. Finally, you gotta have fun. As monumentous as these months are, don't forget that you are lucky enough to get to go through this experience. Not many do, and being fortunate enough to be in your position to apply, get interviews, travel to all these different programs, and connect with so many remarkable people and personalities from around the country, it's all a major blessing. Even the ability to stay patient along this process is also a blessing. Even if I don't match, I won't regret this journey. Good luck and congratulations to everyone that is trying to match in the future, or those that have already. Hoping for some good news in 18 hours.